Hello everyone. In this video we are going to be looking at how brute force nearest neighbors has some issues as the number of vectors increases, and how can we potentially solve this. Most of the code I have already written. In fact, all of the code I have already written. I just want you to understand the concepts what I am going to explain. Okay, so let's get started. So the core idea behind this brute force nearest neighbor search is that what we have is we have some set of vectors. So we have some set of vectors, and that some set of vectors can have length varying from 100k to all the way to 1 billion. Okay, some set of vectors, and our task is to find closest vectors to q. Okay, so we can have a q vector which is query vector, and we want to get this set and find the closest. Now how do we define this closeness? That depends on the kind of matrix we use. We can either use cosine similarity matrix or L2 based distance, and that is up to us, although they have some differences in terms of when they perform better. But for us, since these vectors are going to be dense, this difference does not matter that much. Okay, so what I have done is, let's ignore this installation for now. Let's come to this part. Now what I have done is, I have basically tried to generate some data, and I'm generating some random vectors, and I'm generating a matrix, you can say, of shape, number of vectors by vector dimension. Here vector dimension is 64, and I'm generating 100k vectors. So essentially this would generate a data set of basically shape this by this. Okay, 100k by 64. Okay, so no, it's not 100k, it's 1 million. So it is 1 million, and we have got this kind of setup. And now we are also generating a query vector, but this time we are only generating one query vector of the same dimension, and our job is to find most closest vectors from this set which are closest to query vector. Okay, so let's get started, and let's run this first of all installation step, and then because I'm going to import this FAISS, which stands for Facebook AI Similarity Search. So let's quickly install this library, and let's import this library. And there are some other parameters also which I have defined, like number of top matches, how many matches I would like to return. So you can either return one top match or k top matches. Here k has been defined as 5. Okay, then these two parameters we don't need to worry about as of now. We will be looking at these parameters when we look at FAISS implementation. Okay, so now let's run this code, and let's run this code as well. So after this code has been executed, we have got a data set of shape 1 million by 64, where each vector is of size 64. Now let's look at the first approach, and I want you to pay attention to this function, because most of the implementation for brute force search has been implemented here. Now this function is expecting a vector, a query vector, and number of matches, and the way it works is pretty straightforward. We are importing cosine similarity, which takes two matrices, two arrays, and it computes cosine similarity between each pair of both the matrix. Here I am passing query vector, which is only one vector, and another vector is vectors, and here this vector is basically collection of 1 million vectors. I am computing cosine similarity between each query vector and each 1 million vector, and what will happen is I will have 1 million similarities, and I'm just flattening it, because the way this implementation works is it will return a matrix by default, and by flattening it I'm converting it into a vector of 1 million similarities. Now after that I want to get top indexes where the top where the highest similarity exists. So similarity.argsort, I'm sorting not on the values but on the indexes, and that's what arg here represents. And I'm doing this this cool Python syntax which basically reverses this, because by default it the index for the maximum element will be at last, so that's why I will have to reverse, and I'm getting top matches. Okay, and then I'm returning the top indices. And here I have defined this start counter, which basically starts the time. So it records the time and it stores it into the start variable, and then I'm running the brute force search function, and then I'm storing the end time, and then finally I'm doing this end minus start, which essentially gives me how many seconds have left till this function was executing. Okay, so now that we understand this particular function and this particular cell, let's run this and see how does it look. Okay, so we see that we see this header, and we are seeing that time it is taking to run a query using brute force on 1 million vector is about 0.3 seconds. Now you might be thinking that in user facing applications this might not be that big of a issue, but see, in real world production grade applications talk about the latencies in terms of milliseconds, and it is already close to 1 second. Okay, we can do much better than this, and the problem is that it will not scale very well. Let's do one thing. Okay, let me increase 1 0 here, or maybe not here but rather here. So now it is 10 million, and let me run this again, and let's try to see how brute force. Now dataset generation itself is quite taking quite some time, and I'm just afraid if this breaks the RAM of we can calculate that, but let's run this. Okay, so now it is going to take some good amount of time. Okay, so it took us about 3.7 seconds, which is close to 4 seconds. You see the problem, right? With brute search based approach, as the number of vector will increase, our query time will also increase. And here by query time, what I mean is the search time, the process of finding closest vectors to the query vector. Okay, let me change it back to 1 million for now, because I want to run other processes first. Now see, this time it took 0.5, so it varies a little bit. Okay, because internally these processors have some sort of randomness, so that's why it's not going to be a deterministic thing. Okay, so now that we know that brute force is not that feasible solution, as the number of vectors are going to increase, let's look at the brute force approach of Facebook AI library. Now why I'm looking at another brute force approach, because you see, this particular approach, this particular implementation is based on NumPy and sklearn, right? And they are not very optimized, and we know, and it is traditionally known, that Python, when it comes to performance, is not a very good language. Python is good for some other processes. Okay, so that's why now we are utilizing Facebook AI search, semantic search library, and here things differ a little bit. What we do is we create some sort of index first, and then we add vectors to it, and then we basically make the query by calling this search function. Okay, this index creation so it is a database related term, where what we want to do is we want to create a data structure which makes our search queries faster. And this index word comes from the index that we see in our books, because that index helps us in quickly locating the chapter, right? And that is the precise argument for this term also. With this index we want to quickly find elements, and this index term is also used with database like SQL. They create indexes on columns which are accessed more frequently, so that they can be accessed more in a quick manner. Okay, so now Facebook AI Similarity Search Library offers a index type of index flat L2. Now don't get discouraged by the name. All it is doing is the brute force approach only. Okay, so this particular approach does the same thing that we just did here, but it does it using some optimized libraries, which are written in C++, and then later they are imported. Basically, later Python bindings were created. So let's see how the brute force of Facebook AI library search is doing with our 1 million vectors. So let's run this, and you see the improvement, right? The query, which was taking 0.5 seconds, now it is only taking 0.02 seconds. Now you will be saying, see, you will think that these things does not matter that much, but now let's do one thing. Let's notch it up a little bit. Let's do 10 million now again. So if I run this again and run this part again, and now if I run brute force again, and just to compare, now let's run brute force again. This time brute force takes about 4 seconds, and if I run the index flat L2, it is taking 0.2 seconds. So we can clearly see the difference, right? Okay, so now if I move on to the second part, which is, now we can do even better than this 0.2 seconds. And first of all, you might be asking, like, why we need to do better than this as well? Because you can have a situation where you have a billion vectors, not 10 million, and we are talking about number of vectors which are 100 times more than what we have right now. So in those situations, this index flat L2 is also not going to produce the reliable results. So now we are looking at index IVF flat. Now I won't be going into the theory of index flat at this point, index IVF flat, but the key point here that you need to remember is that it does not. So the above two method, what they do is they take your query vector and they compute distance. All the 10 million distances are computed with the above two methods. But with the IVF flat, what we have is we basically kind of make clusters, and how many clusters are created, that is basically, now let's come back to the these two parameters. Nlist is number of clusters basically which we want to create, and this index is, so while talking about IVF flat index, now we have two different concepts. First one is the index creation. That process itself is going to take some time. So here we are talking about index creation time, but that is only a one-time process. Once our index has been created, what we can do is we can save our index somewhere on our disk, and then each time we have to make the query, we load the index into the RAM and then make the query. So up to this point, we are only making basically training the index. Okay, so let's run this and see how much training time and how much search time we have. Okay, so training time was about 2 seconds. Now let's see how much time it takes for us to search these 10 million vectors. Now you see, search is 0.03, which is way less than the above time. So you get the point, right? So now you can think about and also one more thing, you can also look at the top indices, and most of those will be matching. So you see 964, 964. So it means that we are not compromising on quality that much, although you will see that some indexes are not captured here. For example, 147 is not here, but then this 754 is here right now. Okay, and then similarly, so some, but again, this all depends on a trade-off between speed and quality, and most of the time FAIS library will do a good job in getting a good recall. And so by recall, what I mean is the correct, because see, this brute force approach is doing a accurate job, 100% accurate job. It will always return the correct you can say correct closest vectors. But this IVF flat index is going to make some approximations at the cost of so basically it is doing some sort of approximation to make sure that you get your results faster, but at the same time those might not be exact results. But in embedding search, in vector semantic searches, we don't even want to have exact search, and then we can do some sort of re-ranking and things like that to make sure that wherever we feed these vectors in our downstream processes, like RAG is something that uses these vectors, we can make sure that those are optimized to make sure they do something with these vectors to produce some sort of final results. Okay, so yeah, so I think that would be it. And the main and let's look at the RAM, and we can quickly see our system RAM is almost close to exhausting. Now this is another topic. Here what we were discussing in this video was something to do with speed, how quickly we can make query. But this RAM is the issue of how much space our training data and our indexes are taking. So this index is also taking some space, this training data. So if I have to estimate it, so we are looking at 10 million multiplied by 64, and each number is a float 32 bit floating number takes 4 bytes. So we are looking at 64 multiplied by 10 million, and each of these numbers are 4 byte, and we can compute this number exactly how much this is. And I can just quick Google search. It would be about 3 gigabyte. Okay, so I think that this is the scale of the problem. And this particular issue that I just discussed, it is related to the space issue, which in itself is a big challenge. And for that we have methods like product quantization and things like that, but that was not the scope of this video. I wanted to talk about nearest neighbor search, brute force, and how the brute force of FAIS library performs better than the brute force that we manually implement using sklearn. And the reason for that was because FAIS library has written these modules, these routines in a highly optimized C++ library. And then we look at how we can further improve upon the query time by utilizing IVF flat. Okay, so I think that would be it for this video. Let me know if you have any doubts in any specific portion. I would be glad to help you out, and consider subscribing to the channel, and also let me know if you want me to cover any specific topic related to vector search. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.